I actually passed stats on my own with a C, which is pretty decent for someone who's.
I mean, stats is not easy.
No, it was not. No, it all depends on the teacher, though. To be honest, because if the teacher is not good and explain it, then you're not going to get it. But yeah, and I had to do college algebra because I was in psych before this, and I had to do college algebra, and the last math course was finite, which I don't even know what that is. Or anything. College, it was hard. I actually surprised I got through most of it, but that's when I was like, you know what, I gotta switch because I'm not gonna kill myself over math because I was basically 2 hours just for, and it was kind of the point where it's like, you know what, I should either gonna stress myself out even more, or I should just switch to something, or when I already have the math requirement, and it'll just be less stressful, and I can have a better peace of mind, and I'll be able to graduate on time instead of having to stay extra. Who wants to stay longer for graduation?
Right. And if you're going to get your master's, you're going to get your master's anyway. You'll have that, and this will just be the stepping stone to that, and you won't have to worry as much getting into your master's, which is what I'm going to do too. I think if you get interdisciplinary studies, it's a lending hand to a master's program because you take more credits anyway when you're going past like 120 or like 140, 160. So like for me, I'm going to immediately try to get back into my master's program. So once you have a master's, I'm not trying to say it doesn't matter what it's in, but if you have a master's, it's way more applicable in this day and age. And if you use interdisciplinaries as a bridge to that, that's smart. That's what I was thinking. I almost went into the WP Carey Business School because that's what my minor is. And instead of doing all these financial classes, which I had only done a couple of, I went to interdisciplinary studies to give myself a break because I'm already planning to do the same thing. So I think it's smart. Do you guys know if Callan is able to get in?
Yeah,
I
haven't heard.
Yeah, me neither.
I haven't heard from her. She hasn't replied to the thing. I'm gonna go look on the website. I did go on to Hallway Conversations and put something. See if she's posted on there.
Okay. Let me see.
Okay.
Okay, I did group 2 meeting. Let's see, total post just 1. I guess nobody maybe. I don't see where she's tried.
Maybe she's like confused on the time because I'm always forgetting that Arizona's at least 2 hours behind us. So that's why I was kind of freaking out because I thought I was going to be good until 5. But then it's because, like the time is like between 2 and 3 AZ time. Like, okay, so it's either 3 o'clock my time or like 5 o'clock my time,
Yeah, I had to figure it out too. I was glad that you guys posted beforehand and that you reached out to me, Jason, and that Ryan, you made the feed because then that cleared it up for me because I was a little bit because I'm in Virginia. Same thing with Ryan. He's in Virginia. He's actually at a wedding right now.
Yeah, so that's why I'm a little fancy looking, trying to
the bow tie.
Oh, dude. I mean, dude, I'm wearing like skinny black jeans with like paint splatter on them and like some indigo Doc Martens.
Heck yeah.
That's nice. Graduation. Are you guys going to come to Arizona to walk?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely coming to Arizona to walk. Absolutely, because
for sure,
it's a huge deal for me to finish college. Like I've been doing this for 7 years, and before I started college, I did like 14 months inpatient in rehab. I was a heroin addict, so like hell fucking yeah, I'm gonna get my ass to Arizona.
Hell yeah,
like it's
me too. I'm going.
Hey, we work so hard for this. We got to treat ourselves as something special, And plus, it's like it's a big university, and it's like the whole feeling. It's just walking in front of everyone and saying, "I did this." Man.
Absolutely.
I'm in the same boat.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I guess
let's do it.
I guess we could go ahead with it, unless if anybody wants to say any more kind of like introductory words or anything, but I guess we'll just go with it, and then I'll try to get in touch with that's not her. I'll try to get in touch with Callan, and if you guys want to as well, I can send you her phone number if you don't have it, but it's in the group. Her number's one of the numbers in the group messages. But we can just maybe we'll just have her back until we figure out what's going on. I guess that's kind of how I go with it. That's cool with everybody else.
Okay.
Yeah, that's cool. And I missed a video chat in one of my other classes in the beginning of the semester. And because they took notes for me and told the teacher, like, they helped me, I didn't lose, like, a lot of points or anything. I did well in the class. So I think if we just fill her in, I'm taking notes right now, and she'll be fine. She'll be fine.
Yeah,
Cool.
I got a Google Keep little tab I'm running, and I'm gonna like kind of maybe if we could get like each of us can share, on the points that we were asked to share on, and then like if we could get like a little 1-sentence summary on which term or which skill or which value or whatever was most pertinent to us, and then that way once we submit something, and I'll have notes. It looks like Nick's gonna have notes, so we'll have plenty of notes to keep track of what's going on. But yeah, my goal is just to get like a 1-sentence summary from everybody on which value or trait or whatever that they chose to talk about. Kind of.
Okay. Awesome.
So I did kind of I kind of made a group meeting minutes thing here. It said, when you meet, you'll do 5 things together. 1, you'll introduce yourselves. I feel like the 3 of us have done that so far. I'm Ryan. I work for Starbucks. I'm at a wedding right now, and work and school are the same to me pretty much. So here I am. Anybody else?
I'm Nick. I also work at Starbucks. I'm getting ready for work after this meeting. I'm going to go work the overnight. I work like most overnights. It's kind of like my cycle, my routine. It's like 7:30 to 4, kind of like a 9 to 5, just in the middle of the night. On the weekends, like Saturday and Sunday, I take off so I can play music. I practice on Sunday at this place called Crashbox. And so I'm always like going out. It's like an hour away, DC, Baltimore. We actually go to Richmond. I play with this band called Bad Omens on November 17th on a Saturday. So, I get the opportunity to like travel a little bit. It is, the venue is, hold on. It is, it's the one where like it's all graffitied. It's Canal Club. It's the Canal Club.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I normally play if I go to Richmond, or the Camel. The Camel.
Oh,
that's
cool.
the other one we play a lot.
Wow. All right, I'm gonna have to come see you.
So cool, guys.
Wow,
and then Jason.
And when you're there, like I'm gonna come.
Dude, we should chill.
I'm gonna tell security and be like, I know that guy.
I'll buy you a drink. Let's hang.
I mean, yeah.
All right, Jason, you're up.
We can buy each other drinks. It'd be great.
All right.
I'll let you know though. I'll let you know. We'll hang out. Let's do it.
For real.
All right, guys. My name is Jason. I work at a high school. Actually, I'm in the autism classroom with all levels of the freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. I've been in the high school for 2 years, and I came over from the middle school with my student, but I'm no longer with him this year, unfortunately, for some unknown reason. So that's kind of dealing with that change. We tell them, this is change is okay, but no one tells us, the staff, that change is coming, and it's hard for us to deal with it too, just as much as our kids are.
Right.
I can imagine. Is it harder in high school than when it was in middle school? Is it more challenging because the curriculum's different?
They're just awful, man. Like, they were. Everyone was telling me, like, go to the high school, because middle school, the kids are just ridiculously awful and just rude and disrespectful, and they were.
And they're immature, yeah.
Yeah.
In high school, it's so different though. These freshmen are god awful. My God, let me tell you right now, man.
I just remember like middle school for me was like horrible, and then once I got to high school, it was like I was in the cool crowd, except I was like the biggest loser in the cool crowd, and it was like
I feel like everyone hated middle school. I was fine. I only had a few friends that I was fine, and high school made a little bit more friends, and it was harder, obviously. I liked both experiences though.
Yeah, same. I got a small town like when I grew up in, and so like I'm friends with a lot of people still from high school. whether you're in the cool kids, I wasn't really ever a cool kid, but I felt like the nice thing is like when I see someone I recognize, whether you're cool or whoever, I stop and try to say like, what's up now?
Yeah.
It's like something I learned when I was young. It was like everyone was in their cliques and everyone was so into themselves and like, you know, but now that I'm older, if I see anyone I recognize, I stop and say like, hey, how are you? What's up? What are you doing? And most time, like, you know, it really does humble me because I realize that, you know, after 7 years after high school, I'm still working at Starbucks. I'm still in school. I'm still trying to make things happen for me. So, like, it's nice to see other people that made it or are successful, you know, outside of, you know, my small town.
And I want to say, Jason, you know, I kind of wanted to give you some props because, you know, believe it or not, you know, I may or may not be on the spectrum, but like, you know, I've been treated for ADHD, and I've been a child, you know, in school that had issues my whole life, and to have someone there advocating for you, it means the world. You know, back in the day, like I think I was in middle school. God, it must have been oh man, like 2000, probably like 2000 to 2003 or 2004, and there wasn't much talk of like how do we handle even fringe disabilities people, you know, let alone people on the spectrum. And you know, we had like special ed class and we had learning disabled class, but at the end of the day, it was like there were so many more of us who were either on the spectrum or were like some kind of fringe you know, psychological diagnoses that you didn't get the attention we needed. But like, I'm thankful because we had one guidance counselor in my middle school who in Virginia Beach. I went to Larkspur Middle School, and the one guidance counselor there, I mean, he did it all for everybody. He like helped all of the students who had like these like minute issues that prevented them from like being successful in class that could be fixed. Like, you know, he helped try to find solutions for them. And this was like, you know, before. Now we have like ABA in school, we have meditation in school, we have yoga in school. It's like, I don't know. That's I just want to encourage you and say, like, because of people like you, because of what you're doing, like people like me and even yourself and probably Nicholas are able to be successful going even college now.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, ABA is my ultimate goal after this. This is a stepping stone for my master.
That's awesome, man. I do think it's really cool. And like, I can relate to what he was saying as well. And I think it is really cool. As soon as I saw your video, it kind of stuck out to me among like most everyone else's, even though like they were all well put together. I just could tell like that you're in the right place, doing the right thing and helping other people. And I think that is so awesome because I just want to help people as well. But you found something that directly connects to the heart of those that, you know, wouldn't have had the same kind of nurture and understanding, and someone that's patient and that is there for them 100%. Because I'm sure you put up with some crazy things, and they're going through a lot in their mind and their life. And some of them, you said like the guy that you work with or were working with was a pretty high functioning person with autism. But like I know people and in my family as well that do not have a high functioning autism, and so they end up having a hard time just communicating or like verbal cues. And so I know that like your job is probably very tedious at times, and that, you know, you're just like one of those people that care enough to be patient and to go through the whole cycle of saying like, I'm, you know, going to work with this person for this entirety of the school year. My brother was learning disabled and labeled when he was like first grade, and he never had a regular classroom, and he almost didn't graduate because he had a hard time, not only just with like certain tests, but just with pressure. He
was probably undiagnosed or something.
Yeah, I mean, they just said learning disabled, and so they said basically it was like undiagnosed, but he never got to go into a regular classroom. And so when he finally graduated,
it was like a lump categorization
of all different types of people. He was in the room, like, because this is 10 years ago, he was in a room with all different, like you said, like different types of people that were going through different diagnosis. Or they had different, like, they weren't, like, some people were diagnosed, some people had learning disabilities, some people, he said, that literally couldn't even communicate on like a normal spectrum. And so he was in a lump group with all these different people. And honestly, guys, I'm not trying to like say anything about my brother, but he's one of the most talented people that I know.
Absolutely.
As far as like visually, and he's able to create films. So he wasn't really able to find anyone through his entire school career that had his back. And he suffered and he hates school. And he still like, you know, basically almost dropped out and barely got his degree, had to go to summer school every single year in order to graduate high school. And the poor guy, but I look up to him because now he's making movies and films and videos and music videos, and he's traveling and he has a great job. He's now an account manager at a local business here. And so like, I'm just so proud of him, but without, you know, going through the tribulations, he probably, you know, would have had more opportunities, to be honest with you guys. So it's cool, Jason, because you're there and you're giving people hope and opportunity that maybe they wouldn't otherwise get. So I don't know. I definitely feel what Ryan's saying, like 100%. It hits my heart when I saw your video, and I think that's very inspiring because I always try to inspire other people. But I think that you don't even have to try, and you will inspire other people, and that's cool.
That's why ABA is so required like early on, so like people on the spectrum can develop to like be able to talk and communicate some, even though they might still be very limited in what they do. ABA, it's like necessary if you have any hope of like, you know, learning more new skills, you know, things like that. But
yeah.
All right, get started, I guess.
Yeah.
Sure. So I got here in my notes, I got there's terms from the readings. Let's see, I got here, there's the values, then there's the traits and the skills. And I guess we're supposed to discuss, take turns relating the 2 to 3 capacities, values, traits, and skills that you find the most difficult, and share with the group why you find them so difficult. I can go first, or whoever else wants to go first is fine with me. I think I got here, I was trying to get the perusal pulled up so I could get back to the reading, and let's see if it'll open up here for me. Any ideas? Do you guys want me to go first? Anybody else want to go first? I don't care.
I'll go.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go first. While you're pulling up, what is it, Parasol? I basically want to start with intellectual capacities. I did like one for each of the categories. And the one that I think that I needed to clarity, or, you know, some of the other approaches, it felt like critical thinking was like a natural process. But when it came down to integration, that was like the end transition, where it involves critically evaluating disciplinary insights, locating their sources of conflict. So my issue with this one was it's a common ground. It's like when you take all the information that you previously were able to dissect from different parties, including your own, and then what you're doing is you're taking it, obviously integrating everything together. And my issue there is with that particular process. I normally am trying to figure out, you know, how my interpretation or what and again, taking in other people's input, but taking them all and putting them together towards the end tends to be something that maybe I hurry, or I feel like I've gotten everything I need to know. And so getting to a point where sometimes I make decisions not based off of the full amount of information available. I know that that's something that I end up kind of being a little headstrong in. And so when I'm breaking down that intellectual capacity, I think that was the one when I was reading all the different ones that I was like, yeah, I probably could spend more time at the end taking in everything into consideration and trying to create a solution that combines multiple perspectives. For the values, I did the disciplinary bias, because for the values, understanding how, again, kind of going hand in hand with integration, how different competing understandings, how different people's perspectives that may not combine or may not align. A lot of the times I'll go to the one that I am comfortable with, or that I feel like is my personal, one that either benefits me or biases me. So for the value, when I wrote a disciplinary bias when I was doing the reading, it's because I feel like a lot of people have the same fact where like I'll take in other things into consideration, but still normally I still kind of am pulled towards my gut feeling or pulled towards what I feel like is going to be the best solution for either me to benefit me or my party. So I think that that's something that I could improve on, is not feeling so inclined to say like, oh, like I know what you're saying, but at the same time, like I still feel like this is what I'm going to do, or I'll take what you say into consideration, but overall underlining, I think the value is that I'm still going to focus more on the value that I think is pertinent to the situation. For the traits, self-reflection, and learning, at first I thought those are like, oh, I'm good at that. Like I can back onto like myself, or I love to constantly get new information. But when I read the paragraphs, I realized that there's room for growth for me. So there's a lot of time where analytical skills enable me to develop a better understanding. So saying like, oh, I could work on my analytical ability to analyze people's information that's giving me, but also I could use those skills to combine to a multiple perspective. So I think that the self-reflection and love of learning, getting more information, and then also being able to take into multiple perspectives is a trait that I should work on. And the last thing is skills. And I wrote metacognition because that was the one that I had the least like understanding when I read the definition. I was like, okay, thinking about the way I think. So I was like, maybe I should kind of reanalyze. Always analyze how I think about things. It's not something that I normally do. And I think in hindsight, it's like when people say in hindsight, oh, hindsight's always 20/20, or like when I try to break down, why did I do that? I normally have less of that at the end of things where I'm like, let me go back and reanalyze what I chose and why I did
like
things.
Factors you have to analyze too, you know, like why did I do, what decision led to this decision or something like that, you know?
Yeah. And so that's something I could improve on for the skill section. And that was just one from each category, or one or two from each category that I thought I could use some help with.
Jason, if you want to go next, if you have any comments on what Nicholas said, I can go next.
Okay. Now the instructions to me weren't really clear, so please put in if I did this wrong or something. Okay. For the trait, the one that I had the most problem with, I guess, was entrepreneurship, because I had never really heard of that kind of, you know, thinking style or whatever. And it's like you're taking risks to achieve. And I guess I've always kind of taken the risk, and I was like, you know, not knowing whether I was gonna actually get through it or not. And it's always I don't know how to explain it. I guess I had difficult because I'm always thinking of like, oh, it's gonna always be good instead of bad. And I never think about, oh, what if I don't fail past this, or what happens if this doesn't work out? Because who wants to think about negative things? You always want to think positive, right? And I get that's just basically some of it. Really, like I always take a risk, and I'm always thinking of the good things instead of what actually reality is, because I always think, you know, reality is it's always going to be good and, you know, sunshine and flowers, but it's never that, you know. So I guess I should be thinking of what good things and bad things can come up with, not just the good things for that. Self-reflection. I guess I'm always had like a kind of a negative aspect sometimes when I think about like, oh, why did I do this, or what is it? Like, what could have been if I had done this, and I think I always just think of what could have been, and you know, like and sometimes I won't think about like what other like how my behavior will affect others, if my beliefs won't match up to their beliefs or whatever, and thinking, oh, maybe I should match up my beliefs to their beliefs to fit in. And I guess that was something I always struggled with in school, because I always wanted to fit in. And when I got into college, all my friends were like, you know, Jason, you gotta stand up for yourself, and it doesn't matter what other people think. everyone's going to think different things. They're going to believe in different things and hold and different ideas. Something new. You just have to make your own. Not just go on the bandwagon per se.
It's
Yep.
true.
Yep. I mean, oh, go ahead.
So no, you're fine. I gotta regather my thoughts because I wasn't clear on the instructions, so I might be doing this completely wrong.
No. He said like one sentence for each one.
Yeah,
You're
I
good.
think we're good. Like as long as you got like 2 or 3 points on of something that you've struggled with, or like, you know, some of the values or traits or terms or whatever. As long as you're like saying like, you know, I've struggled with, you know, this and that, and I think he was hoping for like 2 to 3 from each of us. But if we got 1 from each, I think that's good. I mean, I feel like what you've shared, Jason, so far has been far more than enough, you know, to meet the criteria. If you have anything else, then sure, go ahead.
Let's see. I think that was it. I think I'm satisfied with that.
Yeah, because I got here, it said take turns relating the 2 to 3 capacities, either values, traits, and skills that you find the most difficult. It looks like Nicholas just went ahead and did 1 of each just to make sure, and that's fine.
Yeah.
3, and it sounds like you did 2 of one and 1 of another. I mean, I wanted to say like, I felt like when you, where did I write here? I wrote some notes on with the whole negative self-reflection thing. Like that's something I've struggled with my whole life, and even today. I mean, like still, it's like I can be doing more organizationally. I could be doing a better job at prioritizing my free time. You know, when I'm not at work, I have 2 things I need to work on. Sorry, I think I lost y'all for a second. Like for me, when I
I guess.
Are we good now?
I guess I should be doing that. You know, I should be like, at least in a good workout, or you know, study more, or read more, or something, other than just sit on my butt.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what I struggle with. Is like, I have like, you know, I get off work, you know, I got school to get done, and okay, this thing's telling me now we have unlimited minutes because we're getting a free trial offer or whatever. So like, so I get off work and it's like I got school to get done, and then for me, it's kind of interesting. Nick does music, and I've been kind of getting back into music for the first time in my life. And I'm starting to learn how to produce. I recently bought, I don't know, I'm sure you've probably heard of it, Nick. It's the Machine Mark III.
Yeah. So that's your interface?
Yeah. So my hardware is the Machine Mark III. I'm using Machine 2 as my software.
Yeah.
I got Pro Tools.
We use Pro Tools, yeah.
Pro Tools and Ableton Live. I'm trying to figure out.
Nice.
I don't like it. I think I'm gonna just go ahead and buy Fruity Loop Studio.
I mean, FL is a little easier, but I feel like Ableton a lot of professionals use, so it's like it's just kind of
go a little bit
lot
deeper with Ableton. I feel like, but like man, the GUI on Fruity Loop, like
FL.
it just it's like there for like the idiot, man. It's like.
I mean, we use Fruity Loops as well when we're like making like beats or like trying to create like the instrumental part of it. We always like use Fruity Loops because it definitely has a lot of plugins. We also use Chemtone for like our bass and our guitar, so we can just download like MIDI files or download different packages, and it's so easy now that you can like get the tones and get the sounds and stuff that you want. Well, I don't know what kind of music you're making. What kind of music are you doing?
I mean, I'm doing it. It's kind of like, you know, I try to be careful because I'm like, you know, I kind of make some music and people are like, well, what, you like a SoundCloud rapper? And I'm like, no, I'm not really a SoundCloud rapper. I don't have anything out there for anybody really. But you know, I try to stick with like a jazz R&B, and then I go from there. And it's all electronic. I mean, once you're on this level, it's all electronic.
Yeah.
So like, it's like this jazzy R&B. I play my guitar a little bit. You know, if I can get my hands on a saxophone, I'll try to, you know, get a little sax noise in there. But like,
Really?
I mean, probably jazzy R&B to like
Yes.
electro rock. Like, because it's so easy
Cool.
to synthesize distortion and stuff on the guitar. Like, I could play a little something stupid on the guitar and like totally change it, and it's like this hardcore fucking like trap beat or something. Like, I don't know. My goal is
you like use it and fade it in.
Yeah, exactly. Like, but like my whole thing with music is like I got back into it as an adult. Was like, okay, I know I'm classically trained. I have the knowledge. You know, I understand music enough to where I could create some sound. I could create a song. I can work together with other artists who I appreciate or other producers who I love doing good things in the community. I want to have a message. You know, I want to have a good sound that makes everybody think, oh man, this sounds just like Top 40. But at the same time, like, I want to have a message in there that's different. That's a little like it might, you know, it might say, like, look at like J. Cole, for instance. Like, he might talk about Xans, he might talk about fucking promethazine or whatever, and
pop culture stuff.
Yeah, but they're talking about it in a different way. Like, they're saying those key words and and making those key sounds that everybody wants to hear, but they're saying something different about it. You know what I mean? Like,
I mix a lot of pop stuff in it too, because I think that that's important. That those pop, like, you know, things that people can listen to and kind of like hear it on the radio. I think that that's important. But you know, it sounded like what you were saying is you've been through a lot already, from what I can tell, and that now like translates beautifully into like a message saying like, hey, like, I've been through some stuff and I'm gonna write some stuff from my heart. I think through some of the harder times in my life, I've written some of the best music. So
absolutely.
No.
But anyway,
so that's cool. That's cool. I'm definitely gonna let you know when I'm in Richmond. So if you're interested or you're close to the Canal Club, that we can meet and talk and jam and talk, and hang out. And you can hang out with my band and stuff.
The bridge on the south side. Like, I'm like right at Forest Hills Park. I come downtown all the time. I just like
straight.
Yeah, just let me know, and I'll be down there. And hopefully,
dude, that's gonna be awesome. I'm so glad.
Come out for a weekend. That'd be cool. Let's see.
Yeah, I go there all the time. Jason, are you close to Arizona, right? Are you in Tempe?
I'm in Chicago.
Oh yeah, you're in Chicago. Same as Callan.
Yeah. Western suburb, I guess, like an hour away. But I just say Chicago because no one knows my town. So
Chicago, yeah. Got it. Yeah.
I'm from the Bean. I am from the Bean.
Man, Chicago's got a pretty hardcore.
That's awesome,
there, bro.
I've been before, actually. I've been on a couple tours, and I like it. It's just cold. When I went out there, it was like windy, bro. They don't call it the Windy City for nothing. I got like burns on my face from like the wind.
Yeah, you're
the only state where it'll rain one day, snow one day, and then be sunny the next day.
Yeah. And there's a good film school out there. Chicago Film School. There's a lot of good film. There's a lot of good art going on. Some of my buddies moved out there, and that's why we stopped in, so I could see some of my friends. So
yeah,
I definitely – I'll let you know.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, you guys want to talk about what we're good at?
Yeah.
Or what we think we're better at?
I'll go ahead and do one. I'll go ahead and just knock both mine out real quick if that's fine.
Yeah, do it.
One thing I felt like I was really good at, and it may be like a false interpretation of what I'm good at, but like for me, like the thing that rang true was the meta thinking. I've spent a lot of time. I spent about 5-6 months at Yogaville in Virginia. I did like a vegan culinary internship there. I learned about like yogic lifestyle.
Cool.
And like, so like when I was there, I learned basically like the most of what I learned is like, you know, what I experience on a day-to-day basis, it's not who, it doesn't define me, right? So like the things I encounter with work, the struggles I encounter in relationships, those are not defining characteristics of my identity, right? The thoughts that I have about those feelings, the things that actually define me.
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. It's like how you react and how you perceive things is what defines you, not actually like what you're going through.
Yeah, exactly. So like in meditation, one thing, for instance, like you're trained to sit and to like let the thoughts that pass your mind just be that, right? They're just passing ideas, right? And you do that over time, you realize I am not the thought, right? I am something observing the thought. So like when I realize that, like even especially at work at Starbucks, like, all right, so like I am not the feeling of dissatisfaction when a partner calls out, right? I'm not that feeling. I am a supervisor, and I am someone who can take that you know, inconvenience and turn it into something beautiful, right? That's what I should be, right? So like just the idea that I can make myself be what it is that is necessary in order to facilitate, you know, a positive outcome in my environment. So like meta thinking for me, like I feel like it's a very important characteristic. I feel like it's something um, that I value in my life. Like when I spend my time thinking, I'm constantly criticizing, like from what perspective is my solution coming, right? Um, so like if I can ask that question, then I can get to the bottom of like, all right, am I even coming up with a solution for this problem that is not rooted in my own personal experience? That is not rooted. I try to do that. It's not always what happens, but I feel like it's something, a strength that I have, but also something that like it could always be improving. It could never not be enough of that. When it comes to the values, I feel like empathy is probably the hardest for me, simply because like I don't know if it's because of like the experiences I had as a child, or if it's because of like, you know, what I've been through as a young adult. Um, it's always been hard for me to relate suffering to an experience that's uh, just like a normal experience. Most people, like, you know, somebody breaks up with you and I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. Like, and they're like, your grandma died.
Yeah.
Sorry, I lost you guys there.
Kind of a lag.
Okay, let's see.
Yes.
Can y'all hear me now? Are y'all there?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so like, yeah, so